Warning, this video may contain content that may not be suitable for children or anyone else that is easily offended. Strong language, graphic content, nudity, bad jokes, and a possible idiot, aka myself, may be featured in the following clip. Viewer discretion is advised. Channel is not responsible for any damages that you receive watching this video. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Zims, and today we're going to react to Mrballen's special forces attacked by an unidentified creature, the Kandahar Giant. I don't know about you guys, but the only giant that I know about is the one that goes, oh, 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 green giant. And that's the one that was in front of the string bean can, or Jack and the Beanstalk. Those are only two giants I'm talking about. Anything more giant than Shaq, or Yao Ming, or any of those, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, bro, is super sus. Although throughout history there has been discoveries of bones throughout the land, man, I wouldn't even know what to do if attacked by a giant. Like, a chupacabra, maybe, but a giant, bro, that's crazy. If you guys are a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you come to the alternate place, because I'm going to direct you right down below to the description box where you can click the link and go over and follow Mrballen, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can get all his recent content, and do the same thing for me as well.
After 3 years of intense military training, I had become a Navy SEAL.
Oh yeah.
Joined my first.
He is a Navy SEAL. He is that man. He's the guy that you want left if you have to survive somewhere, whether it's the woods, the desert, the mountains. You want Mrballen on your side. He's the guy that's left in Warzone and he hears, "You're all that's left. Complete the mission." He's that man. He may not look dangerous, but this man can kill a fly with his bare hand. He can shoot the wings off a fly like the dude from Wanted, bro. He can curve bullets, all that, bro. Iron chest. You see these chest hairs? Each hair on his chest symbolizes how many missions he's had over the years. Don't ask me how I know. I just got undercover top secret access to these kind of things.
SEAL team, which was SEAL Team 2 in Virginia, and I had joined my platoon, my 25-man platoon. We had gone through all this additional training at the team to prepare for deployment. And here I was, 3 years to the day, almost exactly, from when I went to boot camp, getting ready to deploy as a Navy SEAL
Super high speed.
Afghanistan. But none of that training would prepare me for how intense my first couple of weeks in Afghanistan would be. So the flight to Afghanistan is pretty routine until you enter Afghanistan airspace, when your pilots let you know, hey, you've entered Afghanistan airspace. They turn the lights to red.
I want to touch a camel. I feel like they're pretty tall, aren't they? I don't know. I feel like camels and mooses are pretty big. I thought mooses were really nice too, but they're packed with loads of fleas. I'm sorry, I get distracted, so I don't know how to jump from camels. Whatever.
The inside of the plane, and they get ready to descend very rapidly into the base where we would be landing. You know, we can't afford to be in the air for any longer than we have to be because there's a risk of getting shot. So there's a super steep descent, and then they tell you to stay away from the windows.
Why does Pinky do that?
Avoiding the windows in case you get shot at. And I remember thinking, like, wow, like this is really it. We're here. We're in a war zone. Like, we're nose diving into bases to avoid getting shot at. Like, it was intense, and I'm in my 20s. Like, it was just kind of cool. Then the
kind of cool.
Back of the plane opened, and we all got out, and we're inside of this very well fortified base. You know, we're safe in here. And immediately, I was struck by the just stunning beauty of the landscape. And I remember looking out at all these snow-covered mountains, and I remember thinking, like, how is this a war zone? This is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen.
And I bet you any kind of money, the giant is somewhere. Let me just go back. The giant is somewhere in here, bruh. Because giants for some reason like to hide in this way. So they like to ambush you. They start throwing big boulders from the top of the ridge to block you in. And they come down and start beating you up. Crazy. I fought a couple of giants myself. They don't really tell the story how it really happened. You know, it's David and Goliath. It was David, Goliath, and Zims, but they left that part out. I think they lost the last page. But I was there too. I think I helped throw a couple of rocks, but David landed his because we threw it at the same time. It's kind of like we shoot two basketballs at the same time. They both try to go in at the same time, but one bounces out and one makes it. It was kind of like that, but mine missed. So he kind of like blocked my shot at the time. But he got all of the glory on the end of that. But yeah, I was 100% there. 100%. Boy, if you don't.
This is a war zone. This is one of the most
yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
I don't think I really appreciated just how foreign of a place Afghanistan is relative to where I come from. We get out to our site, and that night they wanted to go, they being the team that we were relieving, they wanted us to go on an operation. We were going to be up in the mountains. And I remember distinctly them talking about the cave systems that were in these mountains. And I remember thinking, like, how creepy that was, that we would be up on these mountains, walking around. It's so isolated, it's so foreign, and there could be, like, people hiding in caves. That we could accidentally fall into one of their caves. Like, it just
and get clapped.
really creeped me out. And so I was talking about how creepy these caves were, and the interpreter was like, you know, what's really creepy is back in 2002, there was this fairly well-documented case of another Special Operations unit, the Army Green Berets, coming in contact with a creature.
There's some bad mother pajamas too.
Battle with it, and they lost one of their soldiers to this creature, and it was fairly well documented. But then it was quickly kind of silenced. I mean, certainly the story was interesting, but I didn't really believe it. Maybe it was some animal, maybe it was some person, whatever it was. There was some explanation to it. It wasn't until now that I actually started exploring different strange occurrences and strange events, and I looked and found some testimony from one of the soldiers that came forward anonymously, who was a part
I wonder if I can
this
find that
operation
video.
Came in contact with this creature in Kandahar. And what struck me about his testimony is it sounds authentic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell that soldier's story, and I'm going to tell the other kind of corroborating witness stories as well, to try to give you a picture of what happened in Kandahar in 2002.
That's all I need to know. If there's witnesses, they're not going to lie about something like that. They not going to train that many years just to be like, oh yeah, we seen this creature. Like, come on, bro. Yeah, they did. And that's why he blocked out his face, because they found out who he was. Yep, he getting all of that, bruh. You can't talk. You gotta be.
And you can be the judge if you think this is fact or fiction.
I got you.
But before we get into today's story, if
You're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you come to the right channel.
Oh. That's what my channel is all about.
Oh, I didn't.
Upload 3 to 4 times a week. So if that interests you, I would encourage you to please gently ravage the like button and then subscribe to my channel and turn on all post notifications so you don't miss any of those 3 to 4 weekly uploads.
In my defense, it's an older video, so he doesn't have the same intro as he does now. So track that last one. It doesn't count. Clear the books.
Just vanished. They were on patrol in the Kandahar Mountains.
That looks sus.
Afghanistan, and they stopped using the radios. They stopped calling in. No one knew what was going on. They didn't call in a TIC, which stands for Troops in Contact. Basically, any military unit, if you're out on an operation and you start getting shot at, you radio in to your higher command, hey, troops in contact, or TIC. Which
We're in a TIC.
To them, you need to get aircraft on standby, you need to get ready to send reinforcements, they need to be ready to support you.
Ready to go.
But they only do that if you signal that you're in a TIC. And it's, a lot of people, if anything, will call it in too early. You know, units are known to call it in almost prematurely sometimes. And so the idea that a unit would vanish without calling in a TIC or any sort of communication
is unheard of.
Gunfight or any ambush or anything, it's a little bit strange.
Mm-hmm.
So they disappear. The Army decides that in order to find them, because this is obviously a really big deal, they would get their most elite unit, so the Army Green Berets, that's their very elite.
Yo, his beards just look much. I don't know what it is about beard. Why can't I get one, bruh? It feels like I'm not even mature, but I can't even grow a beard. I mean, I got a little bit of something. I don't know if you guys can see it. Look at that. You see the little pricklies? Look, I got one. See, like right there a little bit. See, your boy is, I'm growing a little something. I mean, it's not as majestic as his. Everybody with a beard, they just look badass. Like, you just don't want to mess with them. Like, they just got some stories to tell you. Like, the Dos Equis dude, he was like, stay thirsty, my friends. Like, oh my God, crispy.
Them out to find this missing unit. And so one soldier that was a part of that elite special forces detachment, who just goes by Mr. K, he would come forward years later and tell the story of what happened once they were tasked with this mission. So they leave via helicopters and they fly out to the Kandahar mountain range, about 4 clicks, so 4 kilometers about, from where they believed was this infantry unit's last known location. And so they land and they start doing this fairly methodical search through the mountainside. They knew that they were in enemy territory, and at any time they could get into a gunfight, they could be ambushed. There's all these cave systems all over these mountains. And so it's slow moving to begin with. Plus,
not the caves, bro.
This lost infantry unit. So it's just a very slow movement through the mountains. And so over the first few days, nothing really happened. They didn't come in contact with the enemy. They didn't see any sign of this missing infantry unit. They just walked along the mountains carrying a bunch of gear, and that was it. At some point, they noticed a little bit farther ahead that there was this distinct pathway leading up the mountain and kind of around the corner. And
nope. red flag, a distinct trail. It's kind of a trail, but it's not really a trail, but you can still walk up it. Don't do it, people. I mean, they have to do it because they have no choice because they're on a mission. But if you have a choice, please don't do it, because if it goes up and around the corner, something's going to be around that corner. And I feel like it's about to get hot.
Goat trail. There were lots of goats that would run around the mountainside, and it looked like a very well-developed goat trail.
Bah.
And they decided, let's just go up there. If nothing else, we can go up onto wherever this leads us, and maybe look down across the other side of the mountain and see if we can see anything. And so the team starts making their way up this goat trail, and as soon as they start making their way up, they start noticing that there are little pieces of American military equipment on the ground. There are pieces of radios, like whip antennas and housing of the actual radio itself.
They better call in.
Backpacks as well, and they started finding pieces of uniforms that belonged to the missing infantry unit. They knew based on the patches that were on these uniforms. So as they're walking up this trail of broken equipment and uniforms, they start seeing some bone on the ground. They didn't know if it was human bone or what. They start seeing broken bones scattered on.
I mean, it has to be human bone. When you see the army patches and stuff that's on the ground, and you see army backpacks, like, it's not gonna be KFC chicken bones, like, it's not gonna be Popeyes or Church's, ain't gonna be Chick-fil-A, like, come on, man, or Raising Cane's, like, gee whiz, Batman. It has to be human bones. What else is gonna be?
To this kind of plateau, and so now the Special Forces team, I mean, they're incredibly well trained.
Yep,
I mean,
facts.
I'm not just being biased here.
No, he's not.
The Army Green Berets, the Army Special Forces, they're very similar
Beast.
to the Navy SEAL teams, which I was a part of. Two different units, no doubt, but very much peers. And the level of training you get in handling situations like this one, now granted this one's pretty unique.
Above and beyond.
You're so well trained that when things start getting dangerous, it's like your training just kicks in.
And speaking of that, I remember when I was at Germany, Special Forces came by and they were like showing us how they do shooting training and stuff like that. They did not miss. They didn't miss. It was except for one dude. They shot, I think he shot like, it was like 40 or 50 times, but he missed one, and they were all like clowning him. All the Special Forces dudes was clowning him. We all just looking at each other like, oh, that's bad. But yeah, if you miss, bro, it's like, how did you miss? And they're like moving, shooting, rolling, back flipping. They doing all this stuff, bro. And they hitting the target dead center. All their grouping and stuff is in the middle. It's crazy, man. I don't know if there's certain techniques. I'm not a shooter. I'm from California. I've rarely been in contact with weapons until I joined the military. But Special Forces, if I knew I could have went that route when I joined, I probably would have tried to go that route. But now I'm pretty much old and washed up, and it's pretty much too late for me.
Everybody does. And so I would imagine that when they saw this, what they were thinking is this was an ambush. This infantry unit was ambushed, and we're probably coming up on the ambush site. And so they're taking defensive positions, and they're moving slowly and very tactically up this mountain, and they're keeping their weapons pointed at the leading edge on their way up to the top of this mountain.
Yep, facts.
Plateau. It's like a flat section of the mountain, right? It's like a steep mountain, and there's like this little like shelf almost. And there's more equipment scattered and more bones scattered across it.
It's about to go down.
All these cave entrances right in front of them. It's like, as if they were intentionally placed so that they fed out onto this shelf. And so they start moving towards the mouth of the caves. And they realize, without even getting very close, that even though the mouth of these caves are pretty large and everybody could go in.
Is this no, it's not a real photo, I don't think.
There's a steep drop off. Like you'd walk in and then it just goes straight down, and someone kind of peered over the edge and couldn't see how far it went down, and they decided that it was just too dangerous to go in there because clearly something happened here where American lives were lost.
Yeah.
Based on the tattered uniform.
Shreds.
And so let's just pull back and take up defensive positions looking at the entrance to all of these cave entrances. And so as leadership goes down kind of out of the fatal funnels, if you will, outside of these caves, Mr. K, who's the guy who's told us this whole story, he said he's looking at one of the entrances to the caves and he sees a flash of movement inside of the cave. And he like looks over at it, he doesn't have time to react to it or anything, and all of a sudden a spear comes flying out of the cave, this big, like massive lance comes flying out, and it goes right through one of his teammates whose name was Dan. And so Dan's down. And so the whole team saw that. They didn't.
Do you guys understand what he just said? It went through him. It didn't go through and get stuck like on 300. How it goes through and it gets stuck and they be like, oh, and they fall down in the spirit. It went through him, which means it was a clear shot through that cave. I don't know how far it was in there. Through that cave, outside, through his chest, and through him, bruh. He had a hole. Do you know how strong you have to be to throw a whole spear through somebody's body? Like, that's some Thor, Thanos type stuff going on, bro. Magneto, or like, that's bruh. Oh my god, he was standing right next to him too.
Didn't see who threw it, but they certainly saw the spear hit Dan. And so as they're like shocked and just keeping their weapon up, wondering what's going to happen, out runs this, by Mr. K's account, a 12 to 15 foot tall man with a red beard and red hair down past his shoulders, comes charging out, howling like a war cry. He's got animal skins for clothes. He just looks super dirty. And he runs over to Dan to pull the spear out and probably use it again.
Oh, never mind. Oh my goodness. I'm like, bruh, them are strong, boy. He pulled it out of him, bruh. Light him up. They about to turn this man into, this about to be the biggest piece of Swiss cheese known to mankind, bruh. They about to light him up. I don't know. They better have some shotgun shells or grenade launcher or Zuka something, bro. I don't think regular 5.56 or I don't know. Who knows? They're gonna need more than that, bro, because it's not about to take him down. I wonder how many shots it's about to take. Yeah, it's like a Call of Duty Easter egg or something. Like, what are the chances of you running into a giant? 12 to 15 foot giant, bro. Shaq is 7 foot. That's an extra 7 feet. Oh my god, bro. Red is a Viking.
And the rest of the team at this point is broken out of their shock of what they're seeing, and they start engaging.
There you go.
This giant. And the giant didn't really have a chance to fight back, and in 30 seconds, the giant is down.
30 seconds?
Dan's down, and the giant is down. And the whole team is like, what just happened? So after the dust had settled...
But they better hope mama, papa, and brother, or uncles, or nobody else is up in there, bro, because it's about to be a rumble.
All the shooting had stopped. They went to check on Dan, and Dan had passed away, and so they called back into higher headquarters.
Rest in peace, Dan, in the chat.
To describe what happened.
Or in our comment section.
A very large, possibly human creature threw a projectile that hit Dan. And so they sent 2 helicopters out, one to retrieve Dan and the team, the other just to hoist up this very large human-like creature because they wanted to know what it was. And they struggled mightily to get the netting around this big creature. It ended up weighing over 1,100 pounds. It had 6 toes on each foot and it had 6 fingers on each.
6 toes, 6 fingers. It weighed over 1,100 pounds. Bruh, that's like fighting a land whale or something. Probably something smaller, but like a land tiger. Well, tigers are on land, I'm stupid. I don't know, bro. It's like fighting an orca on land. Like, I wish I could have seen it for myself. No, not really. But I wish I could have seen the actual photo of this thing. I felt like they sent them up there knowing it was up there and they just wanted to confirm it. You know what I'm saying? So they sent them over there to double check. And they're like, oh, well, it was over there because they didn't ask questions or anything. They just came over with 2 helicopters and picked it up and flew away. But rest in peace, Dan, man. Out of all things, gunfire, you got killed by a giant. That's wild. That's like the first ever in Army history.
On each hand. They load it up, they string it onto this helo, and it takes off. And the team gets into the other helicopter, and they go back expecting to be debriefed as soon as they get back to base.
It's like Dark Souls.
The helicopter with the giant would fly to an airfield, and they would meet up with a crew of a C-130, which is another big military aircraft.
Yeah, it's a big airplane.
The pilot of that craft would publicly say that he remembers seeing a 12 to 15 foot tall giant person with 6 fingers on each hand, 6 toes on each foot. And he would say that's what he saw, even though it was later redacted and made top secret. Mr. K and his team flew back to the base.
Don't say.
And so they had to provide an after-action report. It's something done in the military. You go out, you do any operation, you come back, and you write up what happened. And so Mr. K and his team decided to just be honest about what they saw. And so they described it again in detail. 6 fingers on each hand, 6 toes on each foot. It came out, it threw the spear, it hit Dan. It was this horrible situation. And once they submitted it, their leadership said, "You've got to rewrite that."
Yep.
And accept that.
Facts. I don't want to go too much into it because I don't know who's watching, but facts. It's like that 100%, bruh. It's like that. No matter what happened, if it's not what they want to hear, they're going to tell you to do it over again, or they're going to make you redo something, or they're just going to take it and then rewrite it for you, or they're just going to just leave it out completely. So we, like I said, we'll never know. That's why the dude blocked out his face, because if he didn't block out his face and he went out just like this and wouldn't tell the story, they're going to do what they have to do to get rid of him.
So Mr. K said they ultimately wrote it, and it just sounded like a typical engagement in the mountains with the enemy. And it was made top secret, and they never saw it again. And that was it. Mr. K said that he and the rest of his team also had to sign non-disclosure agreements to not ever talk about what they saw. And they never got any word about what actually happened. Like, what did they do with the body of the giant?
Studied it.
They just never got any clarity out of it. It was just basically made top secret, redacted, and they were told don't talk about it. So it would take until 2016 when Mr. K finally just said, you know what, screw it, I'm going to go public with what I saw because my friend died, and they're acting like, you know, this didn't happen, but it did happen. So that's why we have this detailed
Respect
of this mission where they came in contact with the Giant of Kandahar. I don't know how I feel about this story. I do think that if there was a place in the world that had the ability to mask or hide
a giant
giants from
would
being
be
seen by
Afghanistan.
the eyes of the human population, it would be Afghanistan.
There's nothing but mountains and caves
out there that it felt like I was walking around on another planet. But either way, you do have one soldier who was killed by something out in the mountains of Kandahar, and his own teammates say this is what happened. You have multiple corroborating witness testimony, but a lot of it's been made top secret and redacted.
Yep.
We don't really know what happened, or at least
we do.
Us commoners don't know.
Yeah, right.
So I'd love to hear what you think happened, whether you think this totally happened.
I think it totally happened. Why would all of them come together and lie about something like that? And the fact that all their stories matched up and they all was there, you're not going to lie about how your friend died. That just doesn't make any sense. Like if my friend was next to me and my friend died, I'm not going to be like, so somebody threw a milk carton out the top floor and hit him in the head and he died when he actually got ran over. You know, why would I do that, bro? That makes no sense. They saw what they saw and it got redacted. Unfortunately, none of them took any pictures, but even if they did take pictures, they were going to confiscate their cell phones and erase everything on that phone or video, whatever footage they may have. That's why they have to sign papers, because if they did, they was going to get dealt with pretty much. I thought giants were friendly, no? I don't know. He was pissed or something. Or maybe the last people came up there and was bothering him. He just got, but I think it's more than one, man. I think they need to go back and check all those caves. I've never been inside of a cave. I would not like to go inside one. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section if you thought this was real or not. I think it's pretty real. How they want to check out that Mr. K video of him actually talking about it. Maybe we can get some more detail. If not, because Mr. Ballen always gives great detail, but maybe he gives us a little bit more or something that he may not have been able to mention or something.
If you enjoyed this story, if you would, please gently ravage the like button and then also subscribe to my channel and turn on all post notifications, because I post stories like this one 3 to 4 times a week. And so if that's your deal, well, then you come to the right place. That's going to do it, guys. If you want to get in touch with me, you can message me on Instagram. My handle is JohnBallen416. I'm also very active on TikTok, where my handle is Mrballen, and you can reach me on there as well. That's going to do it, guys. Take care.
Big shout out to Exhort Lit God. Like I always tell you guys, if you recommend me a video, I will check it out and I will react to it. Let me know. Ask me down in the comment section. I said, bet I'll check it out, and here we are. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this content, man. Keep liking his videos. Keep subscribing, man. Keep showing support. Invite your friends, uncle, aunt, nieces, nephews, sisters, brothers, whatever there may be, to this channel. We're right around the corner from 1,000. Thank you guys so much for showing support, and I'll see you guys next time.